Hello everyone, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So today's real quick video is going to be on troubleshooting nutritional deficiencies in your squash. All right, this could also work for zucchini, pumpkin, cucumber, watermelon, cantaloupe. All right, so what I noticed on my squash plant the other day was the color of the oldest leaves. Okay, I'm telling you that for a reason, all right? And I noticed that several of my squash plants had this type of coloration issues, and I'm going to turn the camera on and show you, or where it was yellow on the outside but green on the inside, like this one. And I noticed and I was like, wow, okay, so I obviously have a nutritional deficiency going on in my squash. And I was trying to troubleshoot it. And one of the things that I do when I'm trying to troubleshoot an issue is I do a broad spectrum of nutrient delivery. So the first thing that I did last night was get my 2-gallon sprayer, and I make my own comfrey foliar spray liquid here. So I took my comfrey liquid, poured about a 1/4 gallon into my 2-gallon sprayer. And then I went ahead and topped that off with a 1/4 gallon of rabbit manure liquid and rabbit urine liquid that I have in a container together, that I have brewing at all times. And so what I did was I combined those two together. And the reason that I did was I was looking for the potassium, I was looking for the iron, I was looking for the nitrogen boost that would come from that combination of comfrey, urine, and manure. Okay, so and the micronutrients. I was just trying to wide spectrum. So I went ahead and I applied a foliar spray on all of these all of these squash plants that I saw with the yellow leaves. So I sprayed those down real good, and then I came back with a side dressing of our organic worm castings that we make here at Starkey Farmstead. Notice, sorry about some of the weeds, but if you notice, I applied it right here at the stem where it comes out of the ground, because that's where I really want these nutrients to go. One reason that I went ahead and did 2 types of fertilizer application is because of the rate that it's going to take them to be uptaken by the plant. So a foliar spray is pretty instantaneous. Like, it's gonna really begin to affect the plant between 8 and 24 hours. Your plant's gonna really be able to get those nutrients into it, similar to you swallowing a pill versus getting an IV. All right, so I wanted it to be uptaken pretty quickly, and I'll see if I could stop the nutrient deficiency from getting any worse, because if you've got a sick plant, it's going to invite pests into your garden. And here in Southeast Louisiana, one of the biggest things we deal with, and I think probably most of the world at this point deals with it, is your squash vine borer. And I didn't want to invite them into the garden by sensing a sickness frequency coming from a plant. All right, so I went ahead, I got the foliar spray applied last night. I got the side dressing of the worm castings applied last night. Now, we had a really good thunderstorm, and we've been in a semi-drought here in the South, and we'd gone 2 weeks with no rain. So getting that, 2.5 inches of rain last night was great for me, because I knew that was going to help my worm castings work into the soil that much faster. Because worm castings normally take anywhere from 3 to 7 days to begin really affecting the plant. However, it is a quick, almost like what you could consider an instant fertilizer, in the fact that it does happen so fast. But the more moist that the worm castings are on the ground, the faster it's going to get to the roots, and it's going to be that much quicker for them to uptake. So I was very excited about that. Now, I've said all this, but I've really not told you what I actually think my deficiency is. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's going to be an iron deficiency or if it's going to be a magnesium deficiency. I'm leaning a little toward the magnesium, being that it's the older leaves on the plant that this is happening to. And as you saw on this plant right here, I did want to point out that if you see the veins right here, it's still green mainly in those areas. It's yellow around the outside, but it is starting to get these brown spots that are beginning to tear and leave holes, which is more of an indicator that it's magnesium than iron. The last step in getting these squash plants back on their feet and producing for me is I had some expired nasty milk in my fridge, and my husband's been asking me for a couple of days, what are you going to do with that milk? And I'm like, eventually I'm going to take it to the garden, because milk will actually stimulate microbes in your soil. And I knew it always comes in handy whether it's clotted or not. So what I've done, guys, is I added 3 tablespoons of Epsom salt, just plain non-scented. You can get it in the aisle at the dollar store or Walmart. Epsom salt, because Epsom salt is magnesium. So I mixed that in here together. So as you can tell, this was like a little half gallon, and it's about 2/3 of the way full. 3 tablespoons Epsom salt, the rest milk with a little bit of water to help dissolve it. And I'm going to apply a good pouring to each stem area where I've already put the worm castings. I'm going to pour this on top to help quickly take care of this magnesium problem. Here we go. We're just going to apply a little bit right over the top of that. You could tell it was definitely cloddy. And I am sorry, guys. You can hear the thunder coming in. I'm not sorry about that, though. We have been in a semi-drought, and this is a huge blessing. Here at Starkey Farmstead, we are sustainable agriculture, but when I do have to run my drip irrigation, I'm running off a 220 well pump. And if you know anything about wells and electricity costs right now, it can really cut into our profit. And we're a debt-free farm, so it's super important that I do everything in my power to bring in an income versus spending all my money and sending it back to the electric people. So I know most of you feel that and you're rowing in our boat on that. Now, I hope that you like, comment, and subscribe, and that you just kind of come along on this journey with us, and we're gonna see how many days it's gonna take to get these plants back on their feet and get these leaves back to the correct color. Now, something else I did, and you probably saw that, was I removed the worst of them, and that was for making sure that, like I said, I'm not attracting any more pests. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for rowing in our boat and allowing us to row in yours. If you have any suggestions, or you think that this may be another problem and it's not a magnesium issue, please put it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope that this really helps you come up with ways to fertilize your soil without spending all your money on synthetic fertilizers. God bless you guys. Have a safe night. I've got to get inside before this rain comes in on me. Thank you for watching Starkey Farmstead. I do real quick want to encourage you guys to double check everything that I'm telling you. I would like you to go and Google or get a book from the library or talk to a soil analyst or someone who has more knowledge, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos myself. I take a lot of classes online. I'm in a 3-year scholarship program on soil health, and I do have a master's in education. But my point is this: I make mistakes. I get things incorrect like everyone. And I was watching a young farmer the other day, and he was doing his backyard gardening, and he just made a couple of comments that I knew without a doubt factually were incorrect. And one was that chicken manure was the most nutrient manure that you can use above all other manures. That is actually very incorrect. The most nutrient dense, higher in nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus than any other manure is rabbit manure. It's also a cold manure, which I have heard so many people get that incorrect. What a cold manure is as it comes out the rabbit's little bottom, can go directly into your garden. No composting, no wait time. I mean, literally, catch it in a bucket. The same day the rabbit pooped, you can toss it out in that garden. It's gonna immediately begin to feed your plants. Sorry about the hair. I do live in Southeast Louisiana, and the humidity here, whoa, extremely high. Wanted to talk to you guys about different ways that you can actually diagnose nutrient deficiency in plants. The most common way for people to do it is visual. You notice what's going on with your plant and you begin to make diagnosis, right? You're like, okay, this symptom, yellowing leaves, not enough branching, lower production in fruits and vegetables, the plant becomes diseased. There's all kinds of ways that you can visually tell that there is a nutrient deficiency. Another common way, and it's becoming very popular, are soil tests. Now, I do want to tell you guys that we do soil test here, but we lean more towards biological soil test versus chemical analysis. Now, we do them both, but like I said, we lean toward the biological side of it. We're in a 3-year scholarship program on soil health that is being funded through the USDA, NRCS, CIG. It's a mouthful, a whole bunch of alphabet right there. And this is a 3-year study that we're in. Now, the first year showed a lot of deficiencies in our clay-based soil because this has simply been a grassy area for basically 25 years with nothing being grown in it. So we are no-till, organic, regenerative, and we're basically focusing on increasing the microbiology in our soil here at Starkey Farmstead. So when I say we lean towards the biology end of it, we do. What we're looking for is that beautiful, perfect ratio of 1-to-1 bacteria to fungi. We're also looking to see how much of the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium, calcium, iron, how much of that is actually plant soluble and actually in the soil at that moment for our plants to be able to take it up. We're also learning techniques like deep mulch, sustainable watering, organic fertilizing, organic pest deterrents, and that is how we're leaning. But I did want to tell you in this video, I'm going to be talking about visually diagnosing an issue with my plant. Like I said, we do soil tests with them twice a year, every 6 months. And it's like literally 20 pages of information that we get back. We get ours through Regen Ags. If you are interested, they do an amazing soil testing for us. We do the Haney test. Oh my gosh, off the top of my head, I just went blank. But I mean, seriously guys, it's like 20 pages. But let me encourage you to depend more on visual and less on soil test. One, if I would have waited to get a soil test on my squash, it would have taken 3 to 4 weeks on the turnaround, okay? Anything could have happened. I may have done the soil test incorrectly. I may not have, packaged it the way it needed to be packaged. I may not have got it in the mail quick enough, and my thing is this: why give someone else my money when I myself can take a look at that plant, do a little research, and figure out what's going on? So I do believe that our forefathers worldwide for the past 10,000 years have depended on visual diagnosis, right? And soil tests are great, but for the majority of us, reading a soil test and understanding what we're reading can be extremely difficult. Not to mention, guys, they lean towards a chemical analysis where they're encouraging you to use chemicals to correct your soil. So basically, they're going to tell you what synthetic fertilizer you need to add to your soil. Very few soil tests are going to come back and be like, yeah, you need rabbit urine. Yeah, you need nitrates. I mean, they're going to lean more towards you need 13, 13, 13. So for me, it's not a real useful test. So I don't use it very often. So thank you guys for watching. I want to show you guys real fast our comfrey in our garden. Now this is comfrey rushing Bocking 14, which means it's going to be propagated through root cuttings versus these beautiful flowers. So I don't have to worry about this self-seeding itself, but I can tell you guys this: wherever you plant your comfrey, I hope that you want it to be there for your grandchildren, because this plant right here with the 6-foot taproot is super hard to get rid of once it has established itself. The root system is tremendous. excuse me. This is definitely a plant that you want to have in your garden or on your homestead or farmstead. It's got amazing medicinal purposes. Not to mention, it can be fed to your animals, your livestock, as a fodder. You can dry it for the winter and feed it to them dry. You can actually powder it, use it in teas, add it to your food, put it in all kinds of tonics and tinctures. But I think the thing that I really enjoy most about this plant is that tomatoes love comfrey. So what I normally do, as the leaves are dying out at the bottom, I gather that and then I just put it along the base of the tomato plants over here, and they just really like it as it breaks down. And another thing with the comfrey is we have a great video on making your own comfrey tea. It is literally one of the cheapest and most efficient potassium fertilizers that you can make. So if you have time, please go back and check out our videos on rabbit urine, as well as making your own comfrey tea for your garden. So again, guys, have a blessed day. Stay dry. I hope that you're not in a drought like we've been in. I can tell you this, the garden is going to be absolutely amazing after this rain. This is borage or barrage, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm really excited. This is the first time that I've ever grown this plant. And if you guys have any amazing applications that you do with this plant, any way that you use it for fertilizer, or you've learned ways to use it medicinally, I would love to hear what you've got to say. Like I said, this is my first year growing it. I'm in love with the leaves. I can tell you this, the rabbits really enjoy it. So again, if you've got any tips for me, I like to, learn from you guys as much as you guys like, I guess, rowing in our boat. So let's stick together and help each other out using every plant that we have in our hands to get our gardens the most beautiful that we can.